It's nice to see you after all these years. Oh, are you are you muted?
Wonderful to see you too.
Oh, wonderful. How have you been, my friend?
I've been good overall. Life is a journey we're all on together, and I think it's made better the stronger our connections are to each other. But I've been well overall. Thank you for asking.
You look great. Okay, so let's talk about the torture that I put you through. Did you see Ken's? She makes you work hard. That's hilarious.
Yeah, for sure. Did you have any sort of intro thoughts or questions you want me to dive into?
Yeah, well, why don't you tell people what you do now and what you did when we met?
Sure. So I met Chala, I think it was either mid or late 2015. She was a referral for one of my top clients at the time. I had been in the IT space for quite some time, and I'd started my own company in June of 2002. So it was an IT company called MCal Inc. It still exists today, quite proud to say. And yeah, we got started. So at that time, we were, 2015. So that's 13 years into the journey, right? So we at the time had just, I guess, got close to about 400,000 in yearly sales. So not too extreme, but not a disappointment. We had about I think 6 or 7 staff, and when we met Chala, it was sort of the decision of, oh geez, do we invest in a new car or do we hire Chala?
Oh,
But I'm happy to report that Chala was by far the better investment. As we all know, cars depreciate
I
off
did
the
not
lot.
do this, Michael.
Yeah. And of course, if you're a coachable person, if you're someone who appreciates coaching and who knows who you are and what you're looking for, then having a coach like Chala is key. It's actually essential, because she'll be there as a guide. One of the most, I guess, powerful memories for me is just how responsive you were, Chella, and how easy you were to reach, and how willing you are to just literally move mountains, for your clients, at least and for us, and that's what I heard throughout. So that kind of like angel on your shoulder is priceless, really. She could have charged anything, but she didn't. She made it reasonable, and
As
and
much as
we
a car.
yeah, and we went for it. And so at that time, that was now similar to Ken, sort of end of 2015 into 2016. We started with Chala in January, I believe, and that we had a whole year to kind of get rocking and rolling. I think we had Chala's just amazing coaching for a good half of that year, and that sort of lit the fire and got everything going. And we that year ended up with a 25% year-over-year increase. So that was pretty significant, right? Sitting around that 300, 400 K forever, and then we met Chala and boom, an extra 100K. But it wasn't just an extra 100K; it was an extra 100K, year over year over year, because we were at the time doing 1 year, monthly contracts or 1 year contracts. And Chala really got us in saying, hey, you guys have been doing this for quite some time. We at the time had a high 90s, like, or mid 90s, low to mid 90s, 94, 95% customer satisfaction. So something that we were quite proud of. But so Chala said, why don't you leverage that into longer term contracts? So she got us thinking, okay, why don't we lock them in for 2 years or 3 years? So locking in contracts for 2 or 3 years creates an incredible peace of mind because the contracts were not inexpensive, and it was awesome. And so our customers loved it because we were able to give them a bit of a break, but then have them in for a long haul. And the net effect was we were able to hire more staff, do more, feel more comfortable, reduce our stress. This is not a get rich quick gimme. This is like, if you're ready to dig deep into who you are and to put your hand over your heart and say, this is who I am, and for Chala to be there on your shoulder, this is what you want to do, because she'll activate every part of you that you didn't know was there, that you need to be there in order to break through. It is literally about breaking through barriers. You will have tough days if you're not afraid to cry at some points, not every day, in order to break through. That's really what it is. It's breaking you down gently and carefully, just being there for you, and then building you back up again. It's just the same as going to the gym and working out. You do have to tear a little bit of muscle. It's not going to feel great at first, but eventually you'll look in the mirror and go, I'm so glad I did that. And that's really sort of our experience, in a bit of a nutshell. So
Do you remember, Michael, the research phase, the research process? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I remember digging deep. Like I do remember the VIP day. We did have our team at the time. I think there was 5 or 6 of us around a boardroom table. Chala was up there on a black and white flip chart, which was awesome, and just sort of like it really felt like one of those Silicon Valley moments where it's just like, okay, we get to design our future with Chala. It's really cool because every individual, myself included, and every team member got to basically express their passion and desires for the future of not only their own role in the company, but also the entire vision and direction of the company. And I mean, it's just an incredible thing because when everybody's on board, you get efficiency gains that you would have never otherwise. And
Yeah.
so, in terms of the research process, yeah, I do remember digging in, trying to figure out where we wanted to niche, right? It was like, how do we give ourselves a leg up, right? We're an IT company. What can we do to define ourselves as truly what we're strong in, right? Each individual has a profound level of strength, and as a team, there's a profound level of group related synergy and strength. And to figure that out, Chala helps to figure that out. But to figure that out and then to sort of spin that into a new niche and a new target is really where the magic happens. And so we did that. We looked into a number of things, and then we went back out into the market and just kind of honed our message. I remember being on the phone call, calling millionaires and other people at the time, just saying, "I'm doing this coaching. I just need a minute of your time. Will you, do X, Y, or Z?" And they would be like, "Okay, Michael, he sounds genuine. Let's help this gentleman out." And so the net effect of that was that we got some pretty cool data back, right? We got like, what are the pain points of this industry? That was really what it was. It was calling these businesses saying, where are you in pain? Where are you suffering? If there's one thing that we could do to literally put a smile on your face or to reduce the stress that you and your team are experiencing, what would that be? And the whole net effect of it is that it's really trying to identify how can you be in service and how can your brand be in service and how can your team be in service? Because if you're not in service to anything, if you don't balance the scale, you will be limited in what you achieve. So I hope
And
that answered the
a
question.
differentiator. So, do you know what I remember, Michael? You're going to laugh at this. I remember you guys were in a resistance to going out and doing the research, the questionnaire, to the outreach, right? And then
Absolutely.
it came to the weekend before, and I said to you guys, "You do this now, or don't even, like you're not going to get anything out of this VIP
Right.
day, right?" And then I'll never forget how motivated you got. I remember you telling me something about going to like a CEO's house while he was in the shower waiting for him to get out so you can ask him. If do I remember that correctly?
Uh,
You?
I'm not sure if that was me, although it could have been. There's a lot of interesting things I remember doing.
And then,
But I definitely remember just going hard at it. I remember making the phone calls. I remember just driving to people and said, if you can get here in 23 minutes, you've got 5 minutes of my time. And I would just go and do that thing. And
yeah,
that's what it was. It was about doing the hard thing, right? And anything worth, in order to generate some of the top results, it was just, you really don't feel like it. You're exhausted. You're tired. You just don't want to do it. It's when you can access and tap into that willpower and just go and do that thing anyway, and then you're like, oh my gosh, it wasn't really that bad. And then capture that data and bring it back, and then take the time to incubate that information and reflect on that information. And then from nothing, it kind of bubbles up and surfaces, like ideas start to flow and start to come that would never have been there because you didn't do that hard thing. So Chala really helped with that. She's like, it's now or never. You're either doing this or you're not doing it. And that's the
I'll
difference
never
maker.
forget it. And the other thing that I remember, and I always tell this story, by the way, of I can't remember his name, but your sales manager,
It's either Martin or James.
James, I think it was. So James, he was in huge resistance, right, to calling
Yes.
his back, like people
Oh,
coming.
yes. Yes.
And so what I remember is somehow what I said got through to him, and he went and he reached back out to people he had worked with many years ago, even though he felt like a fool. and he was
Right.
touch resistant.
Yes.
And I remember not only did he get a job offer, but he got an offer to stay at a cottage for the summer. You don't remember all that. I remember all that. I tell this story
Yeah.
to people who are like so shy to call people in their networks.
No, it's so true. I think that yeah, the key is that it's very important. I mean, this element to me highlights vulnerability, right? It's we all feel vulnerable. We're all not sure if we could call. Are we worth calling? Can we call? And it's really important to allow ourselves to feel vulnerable and to do that hard thing. You combine those two together, you will achieve profound success and results, no matter what it is you're after, because you're showing up in the world in that state, and it's wired into the human brain to be receptive and to be kind to someone that they perceive maybe as vulnerable or is asking for help. And it's also wired into us to want to help. And so coach coach Chala was very helpful in sort of being that gentle hand behind the back, sort of just gently pushing you forward. Just keep going, just keep, and you need that at times, and then you do that thing. And so to Chala's example of James, and I do remember that very well, he was very hesitant. He came from a space of being an educator, being a professor at multiple universities, and made so many different contacts as you would in that space. And he did make all of those phone calls, and he talked to people, and those calls like almost brought tears to his eyes, where they were able to connect with him, where they hadn't spoken to him for half a month, a year, multiple years. And it's just so warm and wonderful to talk to someone and get caught up. And then not only that, you get caught up and you're just saying, hey, here's where I'm at. This is my life right now. This is my business passion right now. And this is my focuses and this is what I'm doing. People are just through natural conversation want to help, and they will help. And yes, so James got the offer to stay at a cottage, and he also got a job offer. That's all true. Yeah, so yes,
I,
absolutely.
so, in lastly, what advice do you want to give to people who are on the bubble of, whether they should work with me or not, whether they should join this program?
Yeah, I think it circles back to a lot of what I'm saying. I think it's if you're feeling coachable, if you're ready to be coachable, it's also, do you want to make a breakthrough, right? Do you have a clear vision? And that's another thing too, is who am I? It's asking that almost existential question. Who am I and what am I after? And it's okay not to know necessarily those answers, but also, if you're someone who's been in business, like I was at the time for 13 years doing the same thing, but just, always at a plateau, never breaking through that barrier. It's really, what do I want to do next? And I think the absolute best thing to do is to create a clear vision in your mind. I want the car, I want the house, I want to take care of my family, I want to take care of my colleagues, my team members, whatever it is, I want to be in service to someone. So the best advice I would say is become crystal clear. Spend a week, spend a month, I don't even care, spend a year writing it down, become crystal clear. What do I want in the next year? Where do I want in the next 5 years? And then go back to your coach, go back to Chala and say, this is what I want definitively. And Chala will help you with a step-by-step program to make that happen. So that, I think, is the best advice. It's just be crystal clear, be ready. And then if you're a coachable person, if you're someone that benefits from a coach and that guiding hand, and the unlimited amount of benefit that you can get from someone who can do those micro nuances, you might think that you know what to do, but then you just don't do it. Having Chala there just does that. Like I said, gentle hand on the back, just ease you forward, or gentle hand on the shoulder. And it makes the world of difference, because it's at the point where you may want to quit or give up, Chala will not let you. And that's what you need to be successful, in my view, anyway.
Awesome.
So
Thank you, Michael. That
you're
is
welcome.
so powerful. I'm so touched. Love seeing you, and have the best rest of the year, COVID and everything.
Thanks. You're very welcome. And I will say, just for the audience, that sometime after all of the coaching, I ended up actually selling my company, because I had done it for 15 years. And I've now ended up in a space where I am helping others fulfill their dreams. And I was literally just 2 weeks ago announced as a junior partner on a $40 million construction project. So who would have thought? So pretty crazy, pretty wild. So I say, go for it. Just be your best self, and Chala will help you get there.
As I said, I mean, you're listening to this guy's mindset, right? We're going to talk about mindset tomorrow. And what Michael is doing is he's worked so hard on his mindset. How many coaches have you hired around your mindset? How much money have you spent around your mindset?
Yeah. So other than you, the only thing I've done is a couple things online, and it is around mindset. And you're absolutely right. Even to this day, I'll beat myself over the head, thinking, "Oh, this is not so good," and then I say to myself, "No, Michael, just you need a new perspective.
Yeah.
You just need to sit with this information, you get a new perspective, and you look at it from this angle, and you're like, oh wow, now I'm going to go in that way, and then boom, you're good again." So yeah, mindset is absolutely essential. It's key. It's one of the top necessary tools that you need, just to sit within yourself, your strongest strength, your greatest light.
Yeah.
Yeah, just allow that to shine. Absolutely.
Thank you, Michael. You're the best.
You're welcome. Thank you,
Hopefully,
Chella.
it's not going to be another couple of years before I see you.
No, not at all. Anytime, come on by.
All right. Thanks so much.